But I don't want to just be like, oh, Overwatch is dead. Bye. Never touching this game again. And then I like walk outside and it's like, I'm now unemployed.
Right.
Like, I'm not gonna do that.
Let's go.
Hello, everyone. It's, oh boy, have we got an episode. I'm sure we, all very well know what this episode's going to be about already.
Could it be the fact that we are going to be playing Over 2 very soon?
Yeah.
No, gang. Overwatch 3. It's around the corner.
It's just a week away.
It's,
It's gonna open up BlizzCon, baby.
yeah. So, we've got, obviously, we've got, Ness here and Jazz.
Hi.
Hello.
And, Ian as well.
Greetings.
So, yeah, it's,
As you guys can tell, we're all very chirpy and happy and ready for this episode.
yeah,
Of course.
we're hyped, you know, it's just so much great stuff going on.
Oh,
We're not-
can you believe it, guys? We finally got the roadmap. Wow.
Smile.
Smile.
There's nothing but good stuff going on.
Exactly. Did you guys see the cardboard Reinhardt today?
Yeah.
Pretty great.
It's a good
Honestly, it does
skin,
kind of
but
suck because that skin actually is very great.
It's a great skin. Too
Yeah.
bad I will never own it.
Yeah.
Because Blizzard demands like a 20th of my liver to get it. So let's not.
That like a comparison to how much alcohol costs? What?
No, just like how much you can sell the liver for. Guess I can sell my kidneys instead.
But yeah, so I think we should just go out and say it, you know. Overwatch 2 PvE, it is all that we were promised is no longer going to be. It's oh boy. This is I would say quite possibly the worst possible outcome.
Yeah, we're in the bad timeline, guys.
No one's
In terms-
winning.
No one's winning.
And I think it's very possible that we're looking at just like collapse. I don't know.
It's one of those things that's like here's the thing. Overwatch 2 was already contentious amongst the community, mainly because there was a lot of confusion. It was a little unclear at some points, right? But we were promised this one thing, and that is we get the hero missions, and we get very replayable like PvE missions that involve like skill trees, etc., etc. And for years, and us and other content creators have justified the wait for Overwatch 2, saying like, well, we're going to get a fresh update to what we know to be Overwatch, like the base game, and then on top of that we're going to get all of this new stuff. So to be honest, we'll take the L, and especially due to like things like the pandemic, and then quite frankly, Blizzard's controversies, which again we'll try and keep things light and cheeky.
No, we aren't.
No, we're not. Actually, I changed my mind. Fuck this. But it's been a hard time, and I think everyone here has tried to be very understanding. But I think this was just the straw that broke the camel's back. This is like very much, it has broken everyone who even stuck by all those years, and I just don't think there's any bouncing back from that, unfortunately.
Yeah. So yeah, so let's get formally started on this. Yeah, as Jazz said, I'd say that's correct. I know that Ian, you are especially in an odd situation with this because, unlike us, this is literally your livelihood.
Yeah, I mean,
Also,
if you saw the video.
You're now a rare breed of a person who has played the Overwatch that we'll never see.
Yeah,
That's true.
Unless there's Overwatch 3.
That would never. They can't do an Overwatch 3 because no one would fall for it again.
Surely they're not that stupid. Turns out we are.
No one would ever fall for that again. Oh my god.
Well, I mean, maybe they could bamboozle us if they sell the like Microsoft angle, and it's like, oh, Microsoft's funding it now. It'll totally happen. 2028. Sorry, guys. We're deciding to cut PvE from Overwatch 3 again.
We're actually adding it to Minecraft instead.
Oh god.
Only in Bedrock Edition, though. But yeah, no, this is just... No one's happy here. The devs aren't happy. The players aren't happy. The higher-ups apparently were not happy, and so unhappy that they canceled the PvE, which made everyone else unhappy.
Yeah. I mean...
No one's winning.
I mean, it's... Ian made a good point earlier, which was like, this is going to make the investors very much not happy. I don't know if we're already seeing that. But,
Ooh,
yeah.
Let me look up Blizzard stock prices.
When I checked it initially, it didn't seem to have taken much of a hit.
Really?
Oh, it has.
Yeah.
Well, let's see.
I mean, I guess there's the whole angle of like, oh, we're going to focus on microtransactions and battle passes, and like those just objectively make more money, so investors like might just be satiated by that. So, yeah.
That said, the trust aspect is just gone. It's
Right,
gone. It's vaporized.
When did we get this news again?
Last Tuesday. A week ago.
Yeah.
Literally, stocks were not impacted at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whatever happened on April 25th, though, tanked it.
Yeah, I remember seeing that and trying to figure out, like, what happened then?
I think that may have been some other Blizzard shenanigans happening. I mean, you know, you can't sell all your stocks twice, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, take your pick. Take your pick.
I mean, compared to, let's see, why aren't your stocks doing bad? What the hell? I'm surprised to find out about this.
But, yeah, it's, I don't know, I feel like maybe the first thing we should talk about is the immediate repercussions of this. And what we've seen. So first of all, I feel like the first big repercussion we're seeing is that, again, trust completely gone. Hype gone. And, you know, we'll have to see how this is going to impact, you know, the game's popularity going forward. Because I get a strong sense that this is something that either will take an extremely long time for them to come back from, or they just won't be able to at all.
Yeah, I don't think they'll ever properly come back. Like, I think the company will persist, but it won't be the same. Like, old Blizzard is long dead at this point.
Right. Yes, I agree with that. They've made it very clear that they would just rather, you know, go with what is safest than just, you know, deliver on promises they made, which on one hand I understand why it happened, right? Because it was just overly ambitious, but at the same time, the understanding I have, at least, that the sense I get at least, is that it's not like this would have been an impossible task if it weren't for management issues, right? But I'm not a game dev person, so I don't know. That's just the sense I got.
Impossible? Probably not. I think it was foolishly over-ambitious what they were aiming to do.
Okay.
And, like, even back, like, during BlizzCon Line, when they were showing us those, like, multi-branching, like, PvE skill trees, I was like, they're really gonna try to do that for every single hero. Like, that's insane.
While also
like,
still developing new ones.
Yes, while still developing new ones and supporting other aspects of the game. In retrospect, what they should have done is just taken, like, 8 story, like, centric heroes and made the initial PvE just them.
Right.
Even with hero missions, talent trees, and all that, but only 8 heroes. And
I
for all
think-
we know, maybe they did do that internally. And then they just weren't able to expand to include the entire hero roster, and then everything blew up and, they had to cancel it. But, like, the idea of giving every single hero that many skills is an insane amount of effort. It would be awesome if they had pulled it off. But, like, just from the get-go, it's ridiculously overambitious. And that's why it's not surprising to me that it failed.
It's also worth noting that, now, I think for the sake of our sanity, we should go off of what the developers have outwardly said, rather than like, I heard a leak. I don't think that's helpful. I don't think assuming things. I don't think jumping to conclusions. I mean, like we can make our own educated guesses, but again, I'm going off of what the developers have said. They straight up said that there was just the Overwatch team, Team 4, doing two different games at the exact same time, which is insane.
Yes.
First off, that should not be one team. It should 100% be 2 teams. And at the very least, and I agree with Ian of like, I'm struggling to realize, I'm kind of struggling to, like, I understand the full roster would possibly be too difficult, especially given all the hurdles that we have kind of like the obvious hurdles that we know about, let alone everything that happens like behind closed doors.
Yep.
So my sympathies there, I understand, but like I agree that like I struggle to not understand why 10 heroes couldn't be possible, or at the very least what you played, Ian. Bringing
getting
that live.
9 of them per hero.
Yeah. Like, I'm just... Like, that's the part where I kind of, like, struggle to understand how this all went awry. Especially because, given how they've explained the story aspect, is that, like, they want to have a campaign, and then a few side missions, and then what I would presume, for the future, they would add more skill trees and more heroes, and then maybe close the other one, and then continue on like that. But... I don't know. At the same time, we know for a fact that this decision was made early 2021.
Yes.
A few months later, Tracy Kennedy, we'll put up the Twitter post here, essentially said that management would often cancel things last minute, or add things that weren't necessary and just add to workload and burnout, etc., etc. And initially we all thought, oh, that's probably like projects that we didn't even hear about, or side missions that they were going to do and just been scrapped and they didn't announce it. And now, looking at that tweet, just a wave of depression as we suddenly realize, oh, I think they meant this. And it's like, oh, right.
The SpongeBob meme, the guy looking into the toilets. Oh, they canceled the PvE.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost... I can only describe my feelings as like that one Wendy Williams like clip is like, she's like, life could be worse, and she's like, there's a moment of pause and like, well, not really, this is the worst, and the cameraman's like, this is the worst, and she's like, this is the worst.
Yeah, essentially. And I mean, I agree. I don't see why they wouldn't have been able to at least like do some heroes, right? And then they could just slowly do things over time, like, because I think the bigger issue, right, was, and maybe this is just me, but I think the bigger issue was not that this was something they wanted to do eventually, it's that this is what they wanted to release with, right? Like, I think if they had just released a few heroes with all these abilities, and then that was what we had for these hero missions for the first while, you know, for first whoever knows how long, that would have been fine, you know? At least we would have gotten what... we technically would have gotten what we were promised, just over time. But what's happening now is that we're not even getting what we were promised over time. We've just been straight up told that what we were promised, we're not getting.
And the thing that I struggle to understand is that, like, I understand for Team 4 specifically that this is a bit of a new thing, right? They've been very used to the PvP and kind of like developing from there. But this kind of style of content is kind of Blizzard's bread and butter.
Yes, it is.
So I'm kind of struggling to understand, like, well, like again, using like World of Warcraft for example, why couldn't we have like Overwatch expansions, you know? And I understand there's a difference between like for World of Warcraft you pay for monthly versus Overwatch you get for free and it's monetized, but even at that, why not make the PvE then monetizable with the classical, like, you pay monthly, so that way you kind of have a choice, and like you can also stay in your lane. Do you want like PvE skins, or do you want like PvP skins, sorry, or do you want to focus on PvE? And
Right.
I don't know, Blizzard, why do you hate money?
No, that wouldn't go over well. I don't think people
would
want
not
to
go
pay
over
for
well.
content.
It would not go over well. This is the.
I mean, here's the thing: it wouldn't go over well anyway because they kind of messed up already the monetization of Overwatch 2.
Yeah, I know.
So even though what I suggest is perfectly reasonable, people have already been burnt and are already pretty angry and already pretty, irritated. So therefore, yeah, if I suggested my idea, there would be riots in the street. But at the same
The
time,
game's going down, but at least they released what they wanted to.
Yeah, there's just no. There was never any good answer to this. Really,
like again, I struggle to see, like, okay, if I paid for it's clearly going to be hidden behind the expansion pass.
Yeah.
Right? We're not kidding ourselves, right? It's
I
going to
hope
be
not, because I'm not playing it otherwise.
But like, it's clear as day. It was probably going to be hidden behind the expansion pass.
Oh yeah, you were gonna have to buy it for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of struggling to see, like, what would be the difference, especially if it worked kind of like with World of Warcraft, where you pay monthly but got decent updates.
I feel like either way, what we're gonna run into is, like, especially with this announcement of, like, oh, there's gonna be a lore codex. What that screams to me is that the events that we are gonna get are gonna be seasonal. Right? And
limited time.
Yeah.
Ooh, my least favorite thing ever. Please stop doing it.
So, I get the sense we're going to run into that issue anyways. So,
imagine logging onto Overwatch in 6 months and being like, yo, where's the new content? And then it's like, yo, it'll come back next year, don't worry.
Right. They've dug themselves a hole so deep that it's going to take a miracle.
They've continued to dig deeper. They're like, nah, we hit bedrock. This is just deep slate. What do you mean?
Do you know that crazy lady, this crazy, like, swamp lady in, like, Princess and the Frog, and she's like, you gotta dig a little deeper.
Yeah. They gotta keep digging that hole deeper for them.
Just the Blizzard motto at the moment. Oh boy. And I can't remember, I think it was Flats, maybe? And he pointed out, he was like, isn't it a bit concerning that, we kind of thought the recent patches have been a little underwhelming, probably because they're ramping up on production for PvE.
Yep.
And it's like, oh.
They're on full blast.
Oh no.
No, they're not even working on those.
They're on full blast, and it still blows.
Remember how we justified the 3 heroes? It's like, oh, again, they probably are keeping some in the vault and then focusing on PvE. Oh.
No, they're just not functioning. It's just not functioning.
And here's the thing, yeah, true, I am excited for the hero missions, and, like, I'm sure that it'll be fun. I'm not doubting that, but it's going to be fun in the same way as, like, the Archives event. And guess what? We had the Archives event in Overwatch 1.
Yeah, exactly.
For free.
For free.
Without issue.
You sit and think about it, and it just... Oy vey.
Overwatch 2, the shop update.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, I was hearing about this. It sounds like Flats is planning on leaving. It sounds like Seagull's probably leaving.
I mean, Seagull sequels is just here whenever it made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like Samito's leaving too.
Bro broke his headset in his video.
I
where
know.
He was yelling.
Um,
Very Samito.
I haven't heard anything about any others, but I'm sure a lot of the big content creators are definitely thinking of heading out. I know, Ian, you made a video today about how, you're going to be sticking with it for now, because you still enjoy it, but you're just going to be starting streaming with other stuff as well, which I think makes sense. But I don't know, do you think these bigger content creators are actually going to do what they say and just completely jump ship cold turkey?
I'm not sure. I think in the case of Samito and Flats, I think it's a very realistic possibility they do jump ship. Others, I'm not so sure. It's kind of hard to say, and it's interesting because I've been watching a lot of other content creators like really dunk on Overwatch and Blizzard, which makes sense. But it's like,
yeah,
I'm trying to approach it from the angle where it's like I don't want to burn my bridge with Overwatch.
Right.
Where it's like, yeah, there's a lot to criticize about it, right now. But I don't want to just be like, oh, Overwatch is dead, bye, never touching this game again. And then I walk outside and it's like, I'm now unemployed.
Right.
I'm not gonna do that. So these other content creators, I am curious what a lot of them are gonna do, because a lot of them seem to be pushing these sort of ideas of like, I'm done with Overwatch. But I'm like, I mean, maybe you've got other revenue streams that are sufficient that you can jump ship and just be fine for the time being. But I think a lot of them are probably going to stick with it. Probably do the same sort of thing I'm kind of planning to do, where maybe sort of branch into other areas, sort of experiment with diversifying in certain areas, but for the most part, stick with Overwatch. That's my expectation for most of them.
And why do you think it is that Flats would be able to just jump out cold turkey? Just what makes you think that that's likely?
Because he publicly said he would.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he did, from what I've seen of him talking about it, I'm pretty sure he said his idea is to stick around through season 6.
Yeah.
And at that point, that'll be the determining factor, which, I mean, knowing Flats, I think that's a very intelligent business decision he's taking there, where it's like, okay, I'm giving myself a window. He's probably going to, behind the scenes, spend that window testing other things, figuring out, other potential avenues he can take.
Right.
And then by the time that happens, he'll know whether or not to make the, the switch. And it's like whether I stick with Overwatch or I go with something else.
Right.
So in his case, I'm saying I think he's it's very realistic that he'll jump ship because he's publicly admitted he'll probably jump ship. And he seems like the sort of person that's not just going to say things for the heck of saying things,
He's also one of the, he became popular and came into Overwatch at its quote unquote darkest time. Because I put in quotations there because
I was
look at where we
Overwatch
are
1.
now. Look at where we are now.
I mean, he's
But,
he's like the new XQC.
No.
This was during he came into the game during the hiatus and pretty much single-handedly kept the hype train going with nearly broke his back carrying this entire community. Tried to keep positive, tried to keep content flowing, keep the game itself spicy as best he can with the content that we got, which was next to nothing.
I mean, he's ventured into other games
so
before.
I can perfectly understand his perspective of thinking that, I understand his perspective that you put your stock into Overwatch, hopefully getting better, and then when Overwatch 2 finally gets here, it has been nothing but a broken game, broken promises. It's just continuously a continuous line of disappointment. I understand where he's coming from. And there's also something to be said about he's a streamer. Ian is an Overwatch news channel. It's a bit different.
It's different.
It's a bit different. In terms of content and how much you can jump ship, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's certainly easier for someone in a streaming position like himself to pivot away, as opposed to someone like me. Because streaming in general, there's usually a heavier sense of the audience being invested in the creator themselves as opposed to the content they produce.
Right.
Whereas with a news channel, like 99% of people subscribe to my channel because they want Overwatch content. They don't care about me. So it's a bit more difficult for me to pivot away. But, it's not impossible, which is why I'm trying to take things gracefully and experiment, see what works, see what doesn't work, sort of try out different things and, just sort of try and find an avenue to potentially shift away if need be.
Right. And in terms of that, because I saw a video recently, I don't remember who it was by, but basically what his conclusion was is that he at least defines a game's pulse. Like he can tell the pulse of a game by its streaming numbers. And I just wanted to ask if any of you agree with that, because I remember, Ian, you saying that I asked you if you think that these people leaving, these big creators leaving Overwatch would have a huge impact on, like, the player base. And on one hand, I agree with what you said, because what you said was basically just like, yeah, I mean, the creators will leave, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the players will leave. But on the other hand, I saw this other person say that, like, the thing that has kept Overwatch alive is its streamers. So, what do you guys think?
I think that it's true for Overwatch 1, but it might not be true for Overwatch 2 now, as there's a lot more players. Because
just by the
free
sheer
to play.
fact that exactly, like you pay nothing, you log in, and so it's going to be very difficult to judge it from that point of view. I think that's more of a we'll just have to wait and see. But ultimately, given the internet's reaction to it, they really have to do something. Like, the hero mission that's going to come up has to be excellent. Not just good, not just decent, excellent, to regain any bit of faith in the community, because I just don't think I think the hardcore community has been lost.
I don't think the hero mission itself is going to matter much. I think in the end, right, we've already lost all expectations on it. If it happens to be good, like, how good does something like that have to be for it to restore faith?
Well, as as I've said privately to you guys, the gaming community will forgive and forget a lot. They will never forgive and forget a bad game.
Right, but how good does it have to be for them to forget?
That's the question.
They gotta release The Witcher 3 again, basically. That's how good it's gotta be, which is unreasonable.
I don't think it's gonna meet anyone's expectations.
No, I think it's gonna be lackluster. Good.
Or exactly meet people's expectations, actually.
Yeah, it might exact. Yeah, I mean, Ian, you were the one who was there playing that demo. Would you say that's something that's the level that we can expect, or do you think they're gonna sacrifice that as well?
You mean in terms of the, like, story campaigns?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I mean, the BlizzCon demo I played very much felt like a demo. It felt like everything in it was, like, not hastily built, but, like, specifically built to provide, like, a sort of facade image of, like, the future game, as opposed to it being that future game.
A vertical
This is
slice.
This is roughly what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Or vertical slice.
Yeah, vertical slice.
Yes. So to that end, like, I don't know. Like, I don't think the demo is necessarily a great true representation of what, like, a final game would end up being. And so, like, if the story missions ended up just all being along the same line as that Rio mission from BlizzCon, I think it would be fairly underwhelming. Granted, the fact that they're able to make that as a demo seems to show that, like, oh yeah, there could be a lot of potential. But again, that was, what, like 3 years ago at this point?
Almost 4.
3+ years ago, almost 4. And, like, how many of the original developers who helped make that demo do not exist at the company anymore?
Right. Yeah.
It's hard to say. It's almost like you're talking about an entirely different development team at this point.
Right.
It's like, oh, could I don't know what's Devolver, like, are they a publisher or a developer?
I have no idea. I've never heard of them.
It's like, oh, It's like, oh, could they make a Valve game? It's like you're talking about two different like entire teams at that
Beasts.
point. Yeah, it's like, can you even compare them? Sure, they both make video games, but like, it's I don't know. It's a hard comparison to make because they're just such vastly different leagues in terms of what they make.
Actually, if you want a perfect example, a very similar like thing that you could compare it to is like you ask the question, you know, could the Bungie that made Halo 2 in 2004, you know, they don't still exist. So could the Bungie that makes Destiny today make Halo 2? And I think the answer is probably no.
Yeah, I think that would be a good comparison to make because it's even, you know, like the same company kind of.
Yeah.
It's the same company but like completely different cast of developers.
Yeah.
So
And here's the important thing. Like, not only have we lost the original Overwatch team over the years, just not even for spicy reasons, you know, just like over time, like people retire, people move, people have to relocate, people get families and they have to prioritize them. But also we saw a mass exodus pretty much after Overwatch 2 was announced, and then obviously the entire mess all throughout like 2022. Like, quite frankly,
Working
this
from
is
home
like
being scrapped.
working from home being scrapped. Like, I can imagine the teams have. It's practically. Do you know that the ship metaphor? If you if you put enough like new planks, is it the same ship?
The ship of Theseus. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting ship of Theseus analysis because it's like, okay, so you take the ship of Theseus, you instead of like replacing the parts over the years, you destroy parts of it and you replace it with like worse parts intentionally, and then you rename the ship.
Overwatch 2.
Right.
Ship 2.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm also thinking about like what Jazz said about like this is Blizzard's bread and butter, but again, this isn't Blizzard anymore. Like, can we even call Blizzard at this point? Like,
no.
It's Microsoft. Smile.
It's not gonna go the way that we think it is. I mean, as much as we look at it and we say this is Blizzard, you know, this is what they do. It's just when you have a completely different team of people, the name almost doesn't matter. If I had to guess, I would say that the PvE that we are going to get is going to be serviceable. I'd say it's going to be serviceable. I wouldn't say it's going to be fantastic. I wouldn't say it's going to be terrible. I would say it is going to be... you're going to be able to play through it a couple times. There might be some fun little, you know, Easter egg stuff that you can dig up. But besides that, it's gonna be like Archives. It's just going to be Archives.
Probably. I mean, that's the other thing to note is like we don't actually know what these story missions are going to be yet. Based off of Blizzard's track record over the past several years, I think it's safe to say they're going to be semi-glorified Archives missions.
Yes.
But technically, they could be a lot more than that.
Well, given they've given us just actually zero information about the upcoming PvE, you know, if I were Blizzard right now and I wanted to save face, I would show them the coolest shit in the world. But apparently they've not been cooking the coolest shit in the world, so they're not showing anything.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it really just makes you wonder what they've been up to. Like...
I mean, we know what they've been up to, but it was scrapped.
Well, no, you know what I mean? Like, since then, like, what they've been up to, because it's just like... And we touched on this earlier, I guess we can briefly go back to it. It's just like, we did basically have them saying, like, oh, you know, it'll be fine, you know. We're just working on the PvE. At least this is what they were initially saying. And now we know that they weren't working on the PvE. And now and now, as Flats was saying, you know, we got this... What we got was, like... not great, but we went off the assumption that, you know, like, it's because they're working on the PvE, you know, that's why, and they weren't. So we have to ask the question, what's going on? Because if this is
they were working on it for a while, and then presumably a lot of that development has just been scrapped. I mean, see, what I'm wondering about Do you remember that brand new Blizzard IP that was announced?
Survival?
Like, yeah, the one where they had like the concept artwork of like the two kids going into like some fantasy world.
Yeah.
Like, that was
Oh,
like
yeah.
2 years ago that they announced this. Like, I was wondering, like, what if all this like PvE dev work is going to get recycled into that or some other unannounced like future project of theirs? Because they've presumably put in a ton of effort into this PvE. And like, is the company just going to throw it all away? We know it's not making it into Overwatch at this point, but like, is it maybe going to show up somewhere else?
If they
A different
need to,
game
they can
entirely? A different IP?
They can repurpose some of the systems probably.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I mean, that's just something like I've been thinking about. It's like, because there's so much development work was put into the PvE side of Overwatch 2. And now it's not coming to the game. And so what I'm wondering is Blizzard just throwing it away? Or is that going to be recycled somewhere else?
You mean like kind of like how Overwatch stemmed from Titan, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Project
And then
Titan.
this next game will also be Titan.
Which is funny, because people have been saying, they've been trying to recreate Project Titan with this PvE. Which is...
Does anyone else feel like Project Titan is some weird, like, boogeyman type thing where it's like this ghost that just haunts Blizzard and just subtly influences everything they do and is just slowly, like, ruining them because they can't get away from this delusional idea of Project Titan?
It's the toxic partner that you just can't get away from.
Yeah.
That's actually a very interesting thing you just said, because a recent blog post by Mr. Keller himself confirmed that they were technically still working on what was the original vision for Titan.
Right,
Yes,
the
that's
idea
what I
of
mean.
Overwatch was going to still become Titan, basically.
going to become an MMO, and I was like, what the hell? Like
Like,
why were you people... like, why can you not get
did you
away
not
from
see the
Project
game
Titan?
you just released?
I know, and it's so baffling that I almost wonder if it's like a smokescreen that they're saying that.
No,
Like-
I really do believe that, right? Because they were so passionate about Titan. Overwatch is a success, and they're like, holy shit, this is such a big success, we can make Titan.
yeah.
Do you know when like some people get drunk in the club and they're like, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna text my ex.
Oh, God, yeah.
that's what Blizzard have been doing with like Project Titan for like several years now.
So-
It's nearly a decade, and they just
It's an
won't let it go.
obsession.
So...
They're just like, I miss you so much, baby. XXX.
So, I didn't get this clarified for me. Are you saying that they've been wanting to make Overwatch Project Titan since Overwatch 1 or since Overwatch 2?
Since Overwatch 1.
Holy
Yeah.
moly.
It's
Yeah, I
basically
mean,
they lowered the requirements on what they wanted to release so much they got Overwatch, and then they were like, that's why they were like, oh, crawl, walk, run. Overwatch 2 was still part of the crawl, believe it or not.
Excuse
Yeah, the
me?
PvE was gonna be the walk, basically.
Yeah, baby. That basically means Overwatch 3 confirmed, baby.
No.
We're gonna start running.
You're telling-
the ball is going up.
You're telling me...
Jazz, you can't run without legs.
The ball is going up.
You're telling me that Overwatch this whole time has basically just been fucking Star Citizen, where they've been like, yeah, guys, this is the game. It's not the full game. We'll get the full game eventually, and their like full game development plan is like 20 years long. Is that essentially what you're telling me?
It
is what's
really,
going on?
That's
it really is
been
the
the idea.
Blizzard soon. TM.
They had a
Holy
game
moly.
so ambitious, it was going to take them a good 25 years to probably make all of it, but it would have been the best game ever. Except they didn't realize they just made the best shooter game ever and then fucked it up.
Right.
Lol, whoops, accidentally made an amazing game. Oh well.
Oh well, guess we'll update it to death.
I've never heard such an accurate description of Overwatch. Updated to death.
Yep.
Blizzard's like, I fumbled some of the baddest bitches in this world.
It's just, yeah.
The bitches I pulled by making a good game.
So that's huh. I
I mean, quite frankly, Overwatch as an IP has just been. I joked about it, but actually, when I think about it, yeah, Overwatch has just been fumbled entirely.
entirely.
For
Oh,
no reason.
really?
For no reason.
It's unbelievable. And I mean, and again, it makes me wonder, because these last few months they haven't been working on the PvE, but the stuff we're getting is still not great. So it's like, what's happening? It's just.
Well, I think nowadays the reason nothing they give us is great is because they're operating with like a patchwork dev team that's just horribly like under like resourced and terribly managed, that like they just can't do anything. They can't get anything done.
I think that adds to the confusion of like, okay, I don't think this is controversial to say, while not confirmed, I think we know it to be the inconvenient silent truth, and that is Overwatch 2 was essentially their way of being like, hey, we have a lot of ideas and like a lot of like ways that we want to improve the game, but we can't really do it with the team that we have. So if we say, hey, it's a sequel, we'll finally get that team.
Well, they got a bigger team.
And they got the team.
That's
and they got that team. It still didn't work.
Well, you have to manage that team. And they had quite a tight-knit managed group.
Yeah.
That worked. And then, they had to make a sequel, and Jeff fucking quit. And then, shit hit the fan.
Yeah, because remember, Jeff didn't want a sequel. They were told they had to make one. And so
Jeff still did the funniest trick stab in the world and said the skins from Overwatch 1 will, carry over, which I 100% guarantee you was never the plan.
Right. I always say this. I wish he had said, the heroes will all be free too. They'll all be.
I mean, he probably assumed that. He was like, yeah, if I'm making the game, he couldn't even think of making the heroes paid.
Right. Yeah. But
his error was assuming anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, just to quote again, I'm going to use Tracy Kennedy as a very good example. Just to confirm, Kaplan had a vision of Overwatch game with PvE in it from before the original game launched. He wanted Overwatch 2 to be a sequel to get non-PvP players to consider trying the game out for PvE. He felt very strongly about that. Again, this is early 2021, so I can't help but look at this, be like, interesting timing.
So, is that when Jeff left, early 2021?
No, this
April 2021 was when Jeff left.
Wow. All right. Yeah. Lines up then. Holy shit.
Now, again, we do not know why Jeff left, but I mean, again, saying like that Jeff didn't want a sequel. No, he did want a sequel. He just wanted it to be PvE, geared.
He wanted it to be a good separate game.
Yeah,
he straight up, he is the one who said that they're redefining the sequel, and oh boy, did they.
Yeah.
Well, they sure did. They're so good at it. Even other games are like, damn, that's a lucrative fucking mistake.
Yeah, and speaking of money, like, can we talk about like how shady this all is? Because it's shady. It's very shady. Because
I'm expecting them to get sued. It's gonna
the fact
fucking
absolutely.
happen.
The fact that they,
I hope they get sued in a way that'll have Kodik's fucking pockets empty.
the fact that they released the game to us with this new system, this new monetization system, understanding that the community's understanding is that we're waiting for PvE, while they themselves knew that we weren't going to be getting the PvE, and then only after they've gotten this massive surge of players and like purchases and income from it are they telling us the PvE isn't coming. That's really shady. That's really shady.
Dude, they fucking
It's false marketing.
They fucking pulled a Halo Infinite.
They did. They
They're
actually
like,
did.
Guys, the PvE is coming, and then it turns out the PvE sucks ass and comes out in parts.
And well, actually, no. Halo Infinite does not have any more planned PvE. Doesn't have any more planned campaigns.
Never fucking mind.
It's even worse, honestly. I don't know. I don't really know what angle they could take, right? Because it's not like I'm not a law guy. I don't know if the fact that they didn't by the game itself means it would be harder for them to get a lawsuit through.
Well, they sold at least one product incorrectly then, and that's the Watchpoint Pass.
Which is a good point. Yes, that is true.
They can literally be sued on that one.
Yeah, it's scary because essentially it means that we can't even trust Overwatch enough to sell us stuff based on basic assumptions.
Can I also bring up a really funny thing I remembered from the ancient corners when there were still whispers about Overwatch 2?
Yeah, go ahead.
Remember when they were like, yeah, we're working on a bunch of skins for Overwatch 2, including light and dark themed skins?
Yes!
We haven't even seen those.
We have not seen those.
How much fucking content are they sitting on?
Oh, a lot.
And how have they decided that withholding all of it is in their best interest?
Because they gotta trickle content out,
So instead of making a good game, they're like, okay, but what if this will eventually be a good game? And then they look to Halo Infinite, which is now reached rock bottom, and they're like, shit, this doesn't work.
Right. When it comes to like the skins and stuff, what I've kind of pieced together, largely from like hearing what like different like artists who work for Blizzard as like contractors and stuff have sort of said in terms of development, it seems like they at no point between Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2 did they ever like stop making skins. They've just been producing cosmetic content that entire time, and then they just reached a point where they stopped releasing it in Overwatch 1 and have just been sort of stockpiling it to go into Overwatch 2.
Right.
Yeah, they slowed it down.
So they probably have a huge backlog of cosmetics specifically.
They got at least 5 years of cosmetics just lined up already. And you damn well know the game servers are going to close before they all get released.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Would you say this? Would you say this is going to put like solid life expectancy on the game at this point?
Well, you see, the life expectancy, the expiration date for the game was like 2019, so we've already gone past the expiration date.
I mean,
here's the thing.
Okay.
Diablo Immortal makes millions every day.
Yes.
Like, there will always be a casual player base to fund games like Overwatch. Overwatch is not going to die anytime soon.
Except, Ian, you may be overestimating that a little bit, because did you forget, have you perhaps forgotten that NetEase no longer fucking exists?
Yeah, there's no...
Which was 90% of their... Huh?
Even still, Diablo Immortal makes a ton of money. That was something they talked about recently, after the whole NetEase thing. I'd have to look back and see the exact wording on it, but, like, the idea is they're still making a lot of money. Like, sure, losing China is a huge loss for them.
We know that it was, like, 70% of Overwatch's cash flow.
Was it that much? 70%?
I'll have to look it up.
Was it that much?
Let's see. Overwatch. How would I even look this up? I saw numbers flying around.
It's because I mean, and this is something I heard, but maybe it's not true. I mean, it's like because the people who are going to stay are the hardcore Overwatch fans, but they're gone. And the thing with the casual, the thing with the casual fans is that they come and go. So is it wrong to say that if it is true that Overwatch is going to last a long time now, is it wrong to say that the long-term fans have left, or is it wrong to say that the casual fans don't stick around?
Casuals, I think, will always stick around.
Really? Because
as long as there are updates happening.
That is true. Like, that was the reason why Overwatch 1 really fell off, was because there was no updates to keep casual fans interested.
Right.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Like, when you purposely kill a game,
it dies.
Like,
it dies.
It dies, like, weirdly enough. Things need life to live.
Life needs things to live. You didn't even get it right, Jasmine. Wow.
Well, excuse me.
Excuse me, princess.
But yeah, it's I don't know. I personally expect the game to lose quite a bit of popularity, but
Certainly.
yeah, I mean, because as at least my understanding was that the player levels, even if it's not the same players, I don't think the player levels of Overwatch 2 are more similar to Overwatch 1 than you'd think. At least,
I mean, I have to be honest. I don't think I've queued into a single match with a new player.
really.
Really? Well, you play it at a higher level than the rest of us, so.
I mean, most of the accounts I see have like clearly only legacy available content equipped, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
I mean,
these are not new players.
I mean, I rarely see new players, but that's just, I don't know. I don't put too much weight on that because I'm an experienced player who plays at a more experienced level, so I don't know.
yeah.
This is kind of a little bit off topic, but I distinctly remember it was Ness, Diego, and I, and we were all hanging out, and we were trying to play Minecraft, but unfortunately, due to platform issues, it was kind of like, well,
issues.
yeah, update and platform issues. It was a fun time, and we were struggling with that. And Ness, you turned around and went, "Hey guys, why don't we play Overwatch?" And there was just pure silence, and we were like,
No.
"No."
No.
We're on an Overwatch podcast. We didn't want to play Overwatch.
We're looking for an enjoyable experience, and Overwatch is sometimes enjoyable.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I don't know. I maybe we're both wrong. Maybe what's gonna happen is maybe just like maybe it'll be fine for a while and then it'll fall off a cliff. I don't know. Maybe it'll be both.
I don't think it is going to fall off a cliff at all. I think it's whatever decline it has is going to be gradual.
Okay.
That's just how most games work. Like, if Overwatch 2 hasn't already fallen off a cliff, it's not going to at this point.
I mean, I'd say it kind of has. Maybe that's just me.
But it's the game isn't dead by any means at this point.
I mean, whether or not you can call a game dead at any point is a good question. I mean, the game is actually dead when the servers go out, right?
Right, of course.
That's dead.
And what makes a game a success also depends. You can be like, oh, the game's a success because it's a fucking cultural hit, like Overwatch 1, or the game's a success because it makes billions of funny green things print out of a machine.
Right, so it's like, a game can either be a huge success because it's, Dark Souls, because it's Dark Souls, or because it's Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think we got a Sword and Shield situation on our hand, because Overwatch 2 has been racking up big revenue numbers.
Right.
Believe it or not.
Yeah, which is alarming, but, I guess I wasn't really know what I was... didn't know what I was expecting, I guess.
Then again, they're comparing it to Overwatch 1, which had just about 0 ways to give them money anyways.
True. But at the same time, they had such a loyal player base that it was,
Well, I mean, the loyal player base spent money on the things they could sometimes.
Yeah, that's actually another aspect of it you could touch on. Since Overwatch 2 released, there has been next to no new merchandise coming out for Overwatch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, remember Overwatch 1 merchandise? It was all over the place.
Yeah, there is
you could not go into a normal ass store without finding like the most beat up fucking what is it? The Funko Pops. You could not find a store without a Tracer Funko Pop.
They had like cereal.
Yeah, there is.
They had fucking Pop-Tarts.
There is still not a Sigma Funko Pop. Still doesn't exist.
Really?
Yeah, there's still not a Sigma Funko Pop.
Looking it up.
There's there's the last hero that has gotten a Funko Pop was Baptiste.
Oh my god.
Didn't they show they're making an Echo one at some point?
They did, but it's not out.
No, I found the picture of the Echo one. Hold on, let me look up. Let me look at this.
Just double check.
This is from 7 months ago, and thanks for linking to Facebook. This is not an Amazon link. Apparently, the Echo Pop glows in the dark,
but it's not out.
I can't find it.
Yeah, so they literally haven't even released Funko Pops, which is unbelievable.
Wait, I found it. It's on the shelves. Echo's on the shelves, but Sigma
But
isn't.
Sigma isn't. Oh my god.
Actually, there's 2 Echoes.
What the fuck?
There's the Hot Rod Echo skin.
Which one's that?
The red and yellow one.
The Iron Man color scheme.
Oh. Oh, isn't that just one of her, like, epic skins?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why that one?
I don't know. I guess the guy
Oh, no.
for Funko Pop liked that one.
Yeah, I often
Can
wonder
I-
about that.
Can we get a confirmation about when that Funko Pop was released? Because I'm kind of in my brain. I'm like, well, yeah, it doesn't make sense, but Echo was technically announced before. Oh no, it has Overwatch 2 on the box.
It has
there.
Overwatch 2 on the box. Yeah, I was about to say that.
Yeah, but the
Cash
packaging.
and Reaper were released alongside it, which
Huh.
makes it even stranger because they're the only 2 heroes with their Overwatch 2 design.
Right.
And I know Echo didn't get a redesign, but it's clear that this one was probably designed before Overwatch 2.
Because I was about to say, like, well, to be fair, we've known that Echo would be a hero since like Ash's release, which was like how long ago? Like how many years ago now?
A long time
It
ago.
was 2018.
2018.
2018.
Hey,
So
did
5
you know
years ago.
there is more? Overwatch 1 was a newer game than Overwatch 2 by the time we fucking knew about Echo even.
What the fuck?
Because we've known about Echo even way before things, right?
Yeah. Man, that's just fucked up. Yeah, I mean, it seems like the merch isn't even coming through. So it's just like, I don't know.
Which
I
is
remember
evidence that
looking at
they're
the
hard
Overwatch-
focusing on casuals.
I
Yeah,
remember looking at
Casuals
the
don't buy merchandise.
Blizzard Gear store.
but it doesn't even sound like they are focusing on casuals because the game's balance is so sterile now that it's just like,
Well,
What-
the game's
Yeah, but
balance
casuals don't
seems
care.
the
They don't care
balance
about
seems
balance.
pointless. They're
They
like,
just want that hot new skin. They want to look cool in game and then forget about Overwatch and go play Fortnite.
Eat hot chip.
yeah,
oh no, guys, here's
Go
the
to
merch
McDonald's.
that we get. Okay, here's the merch that
Chicken
we
nuggets.
get. So here's some Overwatch merch that has come out on the European Overwatch Gear store, right?
okay,
A singular hoodie with DPS tank and support on there.
excellent.
A weird mug
I have
that's
plenty of
30
those.
euros.
Okay,
A 1,200 euro Reinhardt statue.
that sounds right.
And a 120 euro bomber jacket that looks ugly as sin.
Cool.
So, cool. And all of this came out around release.
And nothing since.
No.
This is so strange. I don't.
Oh, and
understand.
a Ramatra bust statue. But again, that's.
It's okay. Yeah.
They also apparently increased the prices on all the merch. Incredible. Just.
Holy shit. So yeah, that's the state of Overwatch 2. It's I don't know, guys.
Overwatch 2. It's in a state, alright.
It's in a state. It's
The state is Ohio.
this. Yeah, the
I
state
just
is
want,
Ohio.
I want the viewers at home to know that I'm in charge. Normally, when I'm on, I'm in charge of tuning up topics, just so we can stay somewhat on track. And the topics today were intro, the mess, conclusion.
So that's
So,
our only guiding. That's the only guide we get. That's
It's
the only guide we need. It's a mess.
it's a mess, and I honestly and truly don't know how sustainable this game will be from now on. And I think the trust is just gone. Trust is completely gone, and they'd have to deliver a miracle to get anything back at this point.
Holy shit, they're selling framed JPEGs from the character trailers for 150 euros.
I don't know. Ian, do you have any other thoughts to give?
I'm very curious to see how things just play out over the next month, 2 months, 6 months. Like, I do not think the game is done at this point. It's going to take a hit, inevitably, but, like, the game will persist. I'm curious about the content creator scene, perhaps,
Right.
understandably.
Yeah.
Like, I'm wondering how much my own viewership is going to drop, and I wonder how many other content creators are going to lose viewership, and how many creators are going to jump ship at this point. Like, that's what I'm sort of focusing on at the moment, like, and I'm really intrigued just to see how it plays out in that regard.
It might ultimately even be a good thing, you know? Overwatch being a fucking dingus.
Can I step in and ask you guys a question that I mean genuinely,
Yep.
but it's going to be delivered in a kind of cheeky way.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I don't think there's any other way that I can say this in an elegant, not hurtful way.
Yep.
You know how they said like, oh yeah, Overwatch 2, the Overwatch 2 that you're getting is going to be only a taster. It's only what was the specific term that they used?
Early access.
Early access.
Oh God.
So out of curiosity, when do you think like, okay, day one, when we all heard this, that we all looked at this and went, this ain't early access. What are you talking about?
Right. I remember that call very specifically.
It's like,
So,
what do you mean early access?
We were like, yes, sure. Sure, you're just updating Overwatch 1. Like, that's it. But,
Just a
when
worse
do you
game.
think Blizzard's idea of early access is going to end? Now that the PvE, now that the hero missions will continue, but the actual kind of content that we wanted.
But the campaign is coming, not the
Won't?
hero missions. It's the other way
Oh,
around.
apologies. Other way around. Apologies. Sorry, there's like so many terms that they just fling at us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's fine. You don't have to keep up with the jargon as long as we know what we're talking about.
Yeah. But when do you think we stop? We're out of early access, or have we already reached the point where we're out of early access, or they consider that we're done with early access?
I think
Jazz, I think this game is going to be a 7-year-long early access.
Oh God.
I think this game. I think they are intentionally trying to skirt around the fact that they ever said this was a early access. That's
H1Z1 is still in early access, believe it or not.
that's my take on it. I think they're trying to skirt around the fact that they even ever said that. And I mean, like, it's really sad because, you know, Ness and I have been playing these last few days because of the triple XP, and I just desperately want to get this fucking battle pass finished, just so I can not care anymore. And you know, we played some like some arcade, you know, the assault maps. Arcade.
Not the assault maps, the
hybrid maps.
Hybrid.
Hybrid maps, yeah. The hybrid maps
on OpenQ.
on OpenQ, and it was just like, man, we just played Overwatch. Like,
We played Overwatch 1 with a missing player. It was better.
It was just better, and
Somehow.
it was better.
It's also because our, like, whenever we queue quick play, our numbers are just incredibly fucked and put us in the worst games ever.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, like, we just got put in these fun games where it was just like, you know, it was just like we had one game where it was what was it? It was JQ and Arisa, I think. We had one game on our team, and it was just the most hilarious shit in ages.
Would have guessed 2 tanks.
It was
fun?
It was
No.
super fun. And it's just really sad because, you know, all the time I just look back on my Overwatch 1 stuff and I'm like, this was just a better game. And here we are. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but at this point I think I have come to the conclusion that save for a few things, Overwatch 1 was just the better game.
5v5 was certainly a mistake.
Really? You think so?
Oh, yes.
Interesting.
I mean, I might
That's
even...
his own whole topic to delve into.
Yeah,
but
we can do another.
I think my take on it is even more controversial.
What?
Roll queue was a mistake.
Okay.
Honestly?
For competitive.
Honestly, I am inclined to agree with Ness. I actually think the death of Overwatch began with the roll queue.
Really? Because I think roll queue is when Overwatch became like consistently playable. Because I remember
I agree with you, Astro.
But I think roll queue for quick play has been really good. Roll queue for competitive has fucking killed it.
I think it's the other way around. Because like
Really?
because not having roll queue in competitive was the worst because you'd have like fucking 5 DPS players and then no one would know how to play any other roles and then you'd be stuck losing in a competitive game because no one would play fucking support.
Well, that's because they made you select heroes in such a stupid ass ways, right? Like, let's look at another fucking game that is the exact same as Overwatch. Let's look at our direct competitor here. Paladins, while it had one main difference from Overwatch, being that you can't switch your heroes when you've selected them, never had the problem of, oh god, we have like 7 Ana mains on our team, what do we do? No, because you were never expected to be able to play the same guy every game, because they would just get banned. They had a ban system,
but I'm talking
and
about
a select
roles.
system.
I'm talking about roles.
No, yeah, that's what I mean. They have a system in the game that made it so that, despite the roles you select and the hero and the characters you select,
You could just
you're probably not going to know what role or even what character you're going to end up on.
Okay, but I still don't.
It's like good. I don't know.
I don't know. It's a topic for another video. But after Roku came out, I feel like the game actually became like competitively like enjoyable, which was nice.
Maybe for you, but most of my interest died after. I think after the first season of Roll Queue, all of my interest in the entirety of competitive Overwatch died.
I mean, I got Sigma, and so that's all I needed. That's all. Honestly, that's all I still need. But it's I don't know. The game without Roll Queue is just so chaotic. You just get in there and be like, can anyone play support, please? Please. And then you'd get someone who doesn't know how to play support on support and you'd lose. So it was just like...
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And I think I even agree more so with the idea that like quick play specifically improved with roll queue, because like pre-roll queue, the game was so much more RNG in terms of like get into a match. Oh, everybody just queues damage heroes. All right, this is neither going to be fun nor are we going to win.
No.
Now it's like, okay, at a base level, you're going to have a team that somewhat works.
Yes, exactly.
And
I
it's like
think that works for
guaranteed.
quick play, but for competitive, I think they just had the wrong audience, because the competitive audience was just a lot of casual players expecting to like actually be queued in a normal team comp, and instead they got quick play plus.
I mean, isn't that what comp has always been?
What I'm trying to say is that they should have made comp not quick play plus. They should have differentiated from quick play.
Okay, I suppose I understand that, but still, yeah.
Because quick play itself, right now, as it is, even now, is just a good game, a good experience.
It's all right. Yeah, it's okay.
I think I have a very different viewpoint than you guys, but I don't think this is going to come as very surprising because I've talked about this before. But essentially, I think Roll Queue was a very good example of, you know, the Overwatch team implementing something and then not thinking it through, promising something and then not thinking. Yeah, like this was like the clear cut example of like. Think about all the issues that we had when Roll Queue was first implemented, and how long it literally took an entire Overwatch 1 essentially dying. And they basically were like, we'll just fix a few things, and like eventually it sorted itself out.
Right.
Like in
not
like
even that. Like,
you know, it really didn't sort itself out until like around the hiatus. You know what I mean? And that's
you know
what
what baffles me actually? For the entirety of Roll Queue's existence, the same meta had been in play.
Yes, that is correct, actually.
Good job, guys. Incredible fucking work.
But not helped by the fact that there were minimal to no updates to the game. That definitely did not help. But you can see what I mean, that like this was the beginning of like, yeah, we'll just throw this shit in.
I mean,
I just hope it works.
It's what I've said about Overwatch for a long time. You know, they don't seem to think through what they add. They seem to just, they don't really think through the longer term consequences of what they do.
Or when they do, they're like, they get lost in thought so hard they've released a second game that isn't even there yet.
No.
Overwatch 3, baby.
They're still thinking, and they're like, wait, fuck, we released it already.
So yeah, that's Overwatch right now. It's
not great.
Will we continue playing it? I mean, I might a tiny bit. Ness might a tiny bit. I don't know about Jazz. I know Ian has to, so...
I don't just have to. I do want to. I enjoy PvP.
I do enjoy PvP, but
I enjoy
I'm just kind of like, I enjoy PvP as long as it doesn't include Widow.
I
And
enjoy it in the correct balance state.
literally the only thing pissing me off is Widow. Literally only thing that can make me stop playing a session of Overwatch.
Yeah, I'm aware it happens
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah, man, we've you're not an angry guy. We just hear the table slapping.
Oh, and the table's getting beat the fuck up.
We're like, huh?
He's biting the table. Yeah.
Like literally you have said things like oh well, the apocalypse could be happening, and you're like, it is what it is.
It is what it
and
is.
like all of a sudden some widow was mentioned once.
Widow is
You
mentioned
start, like,
once. I'm like,
frothing.
I'm going to snap the spines of several babies to sacrifice you.
It's just like. It's just.
Sacrifice the young.
It's just. Yeah.
Nothing gets me pissed off more than dying twice in a row to Widowmaker. Exactly.
I've noticed.
Yeah.
It doesn't help me either, but in the end, for me, all that matters is that the heroes I like to play are in states I like to play them in, and beyond that, I don't care. So, like, honestly, if Overwatch goes back to a state where the heroes I like to play are in states I like to play them in, I'll go back. But until then, not much interest.
Honestly, I'm burnt out, man. I haven't even played this game in months, and I'm burnt out.
I know.
It's a.
You get burnout from looking at it, even.
Yeah, I'm like, I look at it and everything hurts. And I think it's one of those things where when you get burnt enough times, you just learn not to put, if you it's like that one experiment with rats where they would get fed and then some of them would get shocked and then they would learn not to eat, essentially.
Right.
It's kind of like that. You can only get shocked so many times by both, the state of this game and also, quite frankly, Blizzard's actions. And at some point, I just gotta look at it and be like, shit, I don't even like this game. Why am I here?
Right.
And it's kind of like people might have noticed that I haven't been really on the recent episodes. And it's because, truly, I kind of pop on here to say my piece. If I have something interesting to say, I say it. And if I don't, I don't. And quite frankly, I just haven't had anything to say about Overwatch in months.
Well, that's also been because of,
Yeah, other things.
external factors.
You get what I mean.
factors.
You know what I mean? And I don't know. At this stage, it's kind of like I just like hanging out with you guys and looking
And
at
that
this
is
mess.
why we're rebranding as a travel channel.
Next episode, we're ranking tents.
The next episode, we are ranking places in Boston that both Jazz and I have visited.
Yeah, we went to America, lads.
Yeah.
To all 3 of your viewers.
To all 3 of our viewers,
Hey,
both
now,
Jazz
last
and I have
episode got
visited
like
Astro.
100 views.
And Diego.
Yeah,
Diego hasn't been on an episode.
Diego hasn't been on an episode, but he still says
Diego is part of the lore. He has not been canonized yet.
Yeah, he wants to come on, but he's always busy because he's Diego.
Yeah, he's just in the expanded universe for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't made it into a mainline episode yet.
He's still in development.
He's still in development.
Blizzard soon. TM.
So, yeah, that's our piece. Anything else, my friends? What else we got? Anything else?
I don't think we have much else to say. Like, what else is there? More depressing news? So there is some news, of course. There's like, oh guys, in like 24 days or something, next season happens, and nothing happens.
Yeah. There's like
24 days.
the next hero is probably Peruvian.
Well, that's season
Yay.
6. Like, nothing's happening until season 6,
Yeah,
right?
nothing's happening.
Like,
We're not even getting a
I
new
love
map.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, it looks like no new map season 5. And I love how we got like a blatant teaser for the next upcoming hero and just nobody cares.
no one cares.
Nobody cares.
You know what actually, good that there's isn't a new map. They haven't designed a good map since what is the
Esperanza?
last good map they've released?
Esperanza.
Kings Row.
Okay. Hot take. Esperanza is a good map, but it's on a shit game mode.
I agree with that.
Thoughts?
I agree with that. Great map, bad mode.
I don't really mind push, to be honest, but
Excluding Esperanza, which I can tolerate and like, I think the last good map they have made is literally Kings Row.
I don't know.
That's it.
I think
are your standards maybe a little too high there, Ness?
Okay, let's go. You know what? I'm booting up Overwatch.
Yeah, at
Oh my
that point,
God.
you might as well say there are no good maps in Overwatch.
No,
and that is
there's
a
like
meaningless
three of-
statement.
There's 3 of them, and how many maps are there? Like 20. So they don't have a good track record.
I mean, I would say that the last map that I would say is just all around excellent that they've released is probably Midtown, for me at least. I
Right.
love
Okay.
Midtown. Granted, there is a part of that that's like, I've been here. This is really cool, but
Yeah.
but
It's always hard for me to rate maps because for me aesthetics plays so heavily into how much I like things
Same.
that
Yeah.
like a map like Midtown, like I love the aesthetics of that map so much that it's contaminating my appreciation for playing it.
It's the same for me. Yeah, to be fair, what matters most to me is the aesthetics and the location, and the music that accompanies the map is really important for me too. So it's why my single favorite map is actually Horizon, but it has nothing to do with playing on Horizon.
Right, yeah.
So,
I'm unfortunately ranking the gameplay of the maps, which
well,
I'm sorry, Blizzard, you just have not delivered. I'm gonna be real.
we
We're
can
gonna flash up the tier list.
yeah we can put
Dude,
up the
okay, look at Overwatch 2's launch maps, right? Circuit Royale, probably the most heinous thing someone has ever cooked up.
Oh, it's terrible.
Just absolutely despicable, awful map. No one has liked. Well, I mean, I've liked one match on it. Surprise, surprise! No Widow or Mercy was played.
Right.
Havana, just despicable.
Oh,
No one
Havana's
likes it.
awful. Granted, the music's really good though.
But that's for a lot of them, right? Circuit Royale, banger theme.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what else do we got here? We got. Well, these are all push maps,
Oops.
so they kind of don't matter. But push has also just been 2CP, but weird.
Yeah.
2CP, but the team fight never ends.
I feel like this is a topic for another episode, but we should also talk about what this upcoming game mode is.
Flashpoint.
I was quite literally just about to ask you guys, what do you guys think about the
Oh, I guess we can talk
the,
about
suppo-
it.
the supposed new. Well, at this stage, it's like I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Here, I think we should do a separate episode where we talk about the roadmap. Because we've
Yeah.
already talked so much about stuff in this episode, and this feels very focused on Overwatch sucks. Next episode, we can get optimistic again and be like, oh, this looks neat.
This
Alright.
is the Doomer episode.
Yeah, so we'll do
Yeah.
that then.
Yeah, this was like we knew this was going to be the we gotta bitch about this. This is the therapy episode.
We need some tea. We need to talk about this.
Yeah. We need to hash it out, bro.
Jesus. Oh, never mind. They have one control map released, and it's Antarctic Peninsula, which is known in my brain for being the most mid control map.
It's all right. Yeah.
Like, there's nothing offensive about it, but how do you make that for control? How do you make a control map suck?
But
I
yeah,
guess Ilios.
Helios
sucks.
blows, dude.
Well, Ilios is fucking fine if it weren't for Ruins.
Helios is my least favorite map, period, and it's all because of ruins.
It ruined it.
Um,
We're
So,
just gonna
yeah.
ignore that one, huh?
yeah.
But yeah, I think to cap off my feelings is this is just damn. I'll just to be honest, I'm at a stage where it's like, okay, I'm just not going to be. I'm gonna enjoy it very casually, kind of like look at it from afar, maybe play a game every once in a while.
Play it with
but
your goober
definitely-
friends, yeah.
Yeah, every once in a while, and just like not be invested in it, to be honest. I think
Yeah.
I think that's the problem. I think my investment has just been shattered, and I just, it was already on thin ice, and then everything Overwatch 2 has showcased so far has not impressed me.
Yeah.
So
You had a whole shouting rant that we didn't even get to hear. It was
yes. So it's very interesting.
I have it recorded.
When the
No.
news dropped.
Just
For
get into the
blackmail.
episode right here.
Yeah. You sneak in like the entire time that I'm yelling, it's like out of context, like right now.
I
Okay.
said at the start, it's like, Jaz, do you mind if I record this? And you just kind of said like, whatever.
I think,
But I don't
think
think you quite grasped that I was going to record it.
I genuinely, I genuinely don't remember. So I think you said it, and like in my blind fear, I was like a bull at this stage. I was seeing red. So exactly what the context was. So the news had dropped, and I was on my own. I was minding Clancy, the dog that I'm minding. Say hi, Clancy. He's right here with me. Hey, Clance. You probably all heard his tail thumping off of something.
A little bit, yeah.
We haven't heard it yet.
No, I don't think I've heard it.
But so I was minding him. You haven't heard it yet?
No.
Give it time. Give it time. But
We
essentially, we
sometimes
just...
hear him during D&D.
That we do.
Yeah, that we do. He's the best. He's the best guest on D&D. Best little support. But I was just minding him. I was on my own. And,
Better support than Ness.
Shut
Oh, shots fired! Boo, 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 boo. Maybe the PvP was the friends we made along the way.
No kidding.
Maybe the PvE was the devs we ate along the way.
Sorry,
But,
go ahead, Jess, yeah.
But essentially, I was just cooking dinner, and the news dropped, and I was like, "Oh, well, I'm not." Like weirdly, I wasn't surprised,
Really?
and I was like, "What? Oh, like at that point, it's like might as well happen." I don't think I was surprised, but
The boogeyman has returned and has given us more unfortunate Overwatch news.
Yeah.
um,
I mean, I could absolutely
So-
include parts of that rant if you want me to.
nah,
No? Okay.
nah.
We probably don't need to.
But
Not that important.
I was just like cooking my dinner, and like do you know when the silence hits you?
Yeah.
I wasn't listening to a podcast, I wasn't listening to music. I was just focusing on making dinner. And it started to boil. And it was like 4 years worth starting to come out. And then I got to a stage where I was like, I need to talk to someone. This needs to come out now. I need to yell. Like I need to unhelpfully yell into the void, and people can either listen or not.
Right.
There's
And,
like an
Ness
entire app for that.
and I was like,
not.
I just hit your DMs. I was like, lads, I'm going off
Yeah.
almost like immediately.
I wish I could have been there.
Almost immediately, like Nessa and Diego like popped on, and I was just furious. I've like, you guys know me. I'm not like a yelly person.
No.
Ooh boy. I was like bursting the mic.
The mic was, in fact, occasionally peaking, I will have to say.
Wow.
Yeah, like that kind of mad. And the thing is, at the end, I kind of sat there and I was like, having said all of that, and I think this is an important closure for the episode, right? Ultimately, this is a situation where I don't think anyone is at fault. This is a project.
Except the highest of the higher ups, yeah.
Ultimately, yeah, and like even at that, it's kind of like this was a project already kind of rocky from the beginning. We're talking about very overly ambitious, COVID pandemic, non-stop L's in terms of Blizzard and their controversies, just seemingly on a monthly basis. The non-stop team shifting. None of this is easy. I can't. None of us can sit here and say that anyone deserved this. That that anyone on Team Forum is happy about this.
No.
It's very blatant. And the thing is that I can't blame Aaron. He's probably just doing his best. I can't blame the devs. They're probably just doing their best.
I mean, they are. Like,
They are.
you can tell Aaron made the best of probably the literal worst situation he could have thought of.
And the thing is that you could be given all the great chances, and sometimes shit just doesn't work out. Sometimes things just suck, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I feel as though this is just one of those situations that's just, no matter what you look at it, this was just unfortunate, and there's no one to really get mad at. So you can only just simmer down and just get mad at yourself, almost like at yourself.
The only thing I wish they had done different is just told us it didn't fucking work from the start.
Yeah, that honestly,
or at least 1.5 years ago, they were
they,
like, "Guys, we're not doing it."
If they had just told us, if they had just been transparent and just told us, like, when they had decided on it, I would have been disappointed, but I wouldn't have been, I wouldn't have felt utterly just like scammed.
Yeah, because now we all have hopium and copium withdrawals, and we wouldn't have had that by then.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's one of those helpless situations where it almost feels inevitable that this was going to happen, and all you can do is just accept it and move on.
Right.
Now you can move on in different ways. You can continue playing the game. You cannot, but it's entirely up to you. But the fact of the matter is, we gotta move on.
Right. What about
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Ian? What are your closing thoughts?
Yeah, it's basically that. Like, it's like the news dropped, and I was like, that sucks ass.
But it was also a really bad time for you.
Yeah, it was a bad time for me, and also I'm not someone who tends to get like outraged over things in that sort of way. So I saw it and I was like, well, dang, like it's I could sit here screaming and being, oh, they owe it to us because they promised. Oh, screw the higher management of Blizzard. It's like that doesn't feel productive. Like I'm just gonna be like, all right, well, that sort of jeopardizes a lot of the stuff I was expecting in the future ahead. So I guess I just got to focus on figuring out where to go from here. Like I'm not gonna waste time screaming or freaking out or that sort of stuff. Just move on. Move on.
Yeah. Ultimately, I did it in front of friends. I didn't take it out on devs who had like nothing to do with it.
Right.
This was the version of me like screaming into a pillow. Like sometimes you do need to scream into a pillow because it is healthy. But
And sometimes that pillow records you on Discord.
Yes.
and sometimes that like a shady bastard.
Like a fucking bastard.
It is what it is.
Immense agony. What about you, Ness? You got any closing thoughts?
At this point, I'd already accepted Overwatch was just not gonna be super amazing. So I was like, you know what? Whatever. I guess I'll go play Dark Souls or something.
Yeah. For me, it was just a feeling of like surprise and then numbness and then just like, yeah, we don't even get
the 7 stages of grief.
Yeah, but it was
There's 7 now.
It was basically just a feeling of wow, we don't even get the bare minimum, and that was about
wow, we don't even get the thing that was like we don't even get the last hope.
We don't even get the thing that was the whole reason for this game being made, So.
And I'm sure even they experience most of the pain of that irony.
Yeah.
Yeah, ultimately, like, we can sit here and be like, oh, this sucks, and, like, this is frustrating, but, like, it does not... Like, we had no skin in the game.
Yeah.
Ultimately. We didn't spend, like, time away from our families trying to make something that just it wasn't going to happen.
Well, depends.
What did you do, Ness?
Well, I mean, I was more hinting towards Ian. He's actually worked, for the game. And with the game,
but...
he's not a dev.
I mean, most I've done is like try to go pro.
He's a dev. He's not.
I mean, to be fair,
Ian's not a dev, so it's a bit different. But yeah.
Yeah.
But you get what I mean. That like ultimately, it's the devs that lose in this situation.
Yeah. Most of all, it's them.
They get blamed. Yeah.
Everyone loses.
Yeah.
So like. Also, to those who are being nasty on Twitter, stop that. Get some help.
There's no need for it.
No need.
That's just a
they need
universal
something
statement.
to scream into.
That doesn't even have anything to do with Overwatch. That's just a universal advice.
Don't be nasty.
Like,
Don't be nasty.
just if you're going to scream on Twitter, just void post it somewhere on your account instead of replying to something.
But that's the thing. Like, why does that have to be on Twitter?
Because I don't know, fucking up some billionaires in like web space is really funny.
This is
because
true.
Like-
Twitter is like the modern day high school girl's diary. Like,
Yeah, it's
how they
literally
treat it.
just an open diary for everyone to read, except if you
That's the
post
worst part.
unhinged. Except if you post unhinged, heinous shit, all it does is clog up fucking servers,
Yep.
which very respectable.
I
I
don't know.
can't
to me-
wait for the day humans are extinct and aliens come around, find all our corpses, and then just the Twitter like data logs.
It doesn't
Just
even
like-
have to be aliens. I can't wait for the day for like even 100 to 200 years from now, from people, historians, to look at this and be like, what the actual fuck went wrong?
True.
It's like, what are these fucking shekels they're all crying about?
Yeah.
It's just awful. Things will hopefully get better. Just in general, world will get better.
But yeah. So that's that.
If there's one thing Overwatch has taught us, the world could always use more heroes.
No kidding. So I guess we'll leave it at that. Ness, you got our closing line?
Sure don't, but we'll try.
Okay.
I don't have a closing line, but I do have a closing statement.
Go ahead.
You know, I've been unfortunately enjoying Lifeweaver lately,
Okay.
and my second favorite thing to do is just pull my widows back into the spawn.
Yep.
My
Okay.
win rate has not been 33%. What are you talking about?
All right. Well, I guess that's where we'll leave it off. Thanks for listening, everyone. This is a slightly shorter one than usual, but it's because this was an oddly focused, relatively speaking, episode. So, yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. If you like this stuff, like, subscribe, all that stuff. It means a lot.
Subscribe for more future travel logs.
Yeah, all that good
And
stuff.
also stick around for my upcoming ASMR channel. Got some nice sounds on there. So
The sounds of you getting frustrated editing a video. Yeah.
it's not even that. It's just the clicks and mouse, keys of like just editing. It's just
Like, he's going to make an editing stream where he's just going to leave the mic on and not talk.
That would be hilarious.
yeah. It's like every now and again it's going, oh shit, when I like accidentally imported the wrong file or something.
Or, like, just intense dread noises whenever Adobe crashes again.
Don't remind
Thanks,
Or
me.
Adobe.
you could go with the robot theme and like it's just like the hum of like one of those like not it air conditioners. That's it. Just
Yep.
That in the background.
yeah.
Anyways, so that's all we got. Thank you for being here, guys. Yeah. I'll see you later. Well, I'll see you later. Bye.
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 You gonna say it again, Ian, so that it actually cuts off?